Now, the big story that we are tracking at this point of time is the announcement that has been made by the 14th Dalai Lama, announcing ahead of his birthday that the 600-year old institution is going to continue after his death. He has said that the institution of the Dalai Lama is going to continue, and the Gaiden Fordrong Trust is going to be in the hold of Soul Authority to recognize the future reincarnation. He has said, and I quote, that I am affirming that the institution of the Dalai Lama is going to continue, unquote. Now, to speak on this big announcement, after also the Chinese Foreign Ministry has made a statement, Tipton MP Lyagri Namgyal Dolkar is joining me live on the broadcast. Appreciate you, ma'am, joining me at this point of time. Thank you very much for taking out the time and speaking to us right now when we are looking at these developments coming in from Dharamshala and the big announcement that has come from the 14th Dalai Lama about the institution of in fact Dalai Lama to continue, 600-year-old institution to continue further. How do you react, ahead of the 90th birthday? This has come. It has also made very clear message. The big announcement of after the, in fact, much anticipation has made a clear mandate over what could the Chinese interference would mean in the institution of Dalai Lama. How do you react to it? First and foremost, in fact, after the announcement has been made, the air has been cleared.
Well, Simran, I would say that it's an absolute joyous momentum for the Tibetan community and the Buddhist communities across the world and those individuals who admire him so much to receive this affirmation from His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama that the institution of Dalai Lama shall continue. This statement is very crucial because over the years, especially since His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama has come in exile and his attempt to bring in democracy as a medium, as a tool for future Tibet, he's mentioned in the past that the Dalai Lama institution need not continue, yet it's entirely up to the people who decide whether it shall continue or not. However, over the years, the Tibetan community, through special gatherings, through special meetings of the elected representative on grassroots level, on central level, and the Tibetans, especially Tibetans inside Tibet and Buddhists across the world, have made repeated appeal to His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama to please continue this very important institution that just not only benefit the Tibetan Buddhist community, but the entire human world. And today we have received this acceptance, affirmation from him that it shall continue. So it is certainly a momentous occasion for us. However, I don't think the Chinese Communist Party and its leadership would take it that way. Certainly, they would not be very happy at the moment. However, let me just state very strongly that His Holiness right now is both strong in spirit and sound in his body. So when we're talking about his reincarnation, let us be clarified that His Holiness, we hope that he shall live long, as he's promised that we shall be able to celebrate his 100th birthday in Lhasa, in the capital city of Tibet, in a free Tibet. This is our hope. However, the declaration today, the affirmation today, announcement that His Holiness has made is an address upon the many questions and the emotions that Tibetans and the Buddhist followers have been, keeping on the table of His Holiness for a long time. So we have a fantastic news today.
Well, that is in fact because it was much anticipated for the spiritual leader to come out. After 2011, this has been the only big thing that the world was watching. And because I've been looking at your contributions into the ongoing, into the complexities from the Chinese interference into the Tibet movement, how do you look at, the continued efforts by the China's foreign ministry and at large the government over completely in suppressing the practice by the Buddhists of the cultures of the Tibet as well, because you have been also taking a tour of Denmark and you have been making this point very clear, raising it well with the message, in fact, completely highlighted over how the movement is there to stay, and also to highlight how it has the underlying message of this louder, clear movement by the Buddhist communities at large from the Tibet, which is not going to be suppressed as China intends to do time and again.
Well, since the illegal military occupation of the Free Tibet in 1959 and the leading scenario of His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama coming in exile, leading to the separation of Tibetans inside Tibet and outside Tibet, caused by the leadership of Chinese Communist Party, one thing is very clear, that His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama, with his actual practice of Tibetan Buddhism and the compassion in action, as I always mention, His Holiness has assured that the Tibetan freedom movement takes a path of active non-violent strategic movement, which has been followed around the world, including the occupied Tibet. The continued raising of the voice of the silenced Tibetans inside Tibet has led to much frustration of the Chinese Communist Party, where they've ensured that the Tibetans, the pride of Tibetans, and our declaration of our identity with so much celebration is something they see as a threat. And over the years, they have come out with different policies, not just military crackdown on the peaceful protests of Tibetans, and our expression of our freedom and, in fact, independence of Tibet as well. You know, China has done everything they could. However, the Tibetans inside Tibet continue to raise their voice, and they have not been happy with how things have been going on. Hence, especially since 2007, you must have been aware of the fact that China has come out with a policy called Order Number 5, which basically endorses and gives control and power to Chinese Communist Party, an atheist nation that does not believe in the concept of past and future life, that they will control the reincarnation of the Tibetan lamas, including His Holiness the Dalai Lama's institution. So those have been attempts of Chinese Communist Party for the longest time. And we have heard of His Holiness making very strong statement that China has got no say in the future of the Dalai Lama institution and the reincarnation of His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama. And those statements have not been taken very well by Chinese Communist Party, clearly, with these statements that they're making in front of a very coordinated press conference so far. And we assume that there will be an answer provided by them or one of their stooges when it comes to their declaration that is being made today. However, for the Tibetans around the world, let us be clear that His Holiness, especially since 2011, he has been, 2011 is, for the listener, let me just make it clear that 2011 was a momentous occasion when His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama entirely transferred the political authority, devolved his political authority to the elected leadership of the Tibetan exile government,
Absolutely.
which was an attempt to give the voice of the movement to the people. So that voice has been important because he has again and again reminded us, especially since the time.
Ma'am, before I just let you go, there is one brief understanding that I want to seek from you is how do you also react to Beijing now insisting on approving the next Dalai Lama? Because this is also very important as this comes just after the major announcement has been made. So is it also indication of a fact that they have been waiting for this very decision to come out in public for only them to resist and come out and say that this cannot be done, this announcement, this approval should come from the Golden Urn?
Well, the approval of through the Golden Urn is a concept that the Manchus have brought. So the Manchus are not the Chinese. Manchus were the colonizers themselves who colonized over China at that time as well. So for China to claim that China to claim over the concept or the tool that the Manchu empire of that time used to administer the Tibet region as now a new tool that this atheist government used to control the Tibetan Buddhist world is completely absurd. I know that they knew His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama would make this clear statement today. I'm sure they were waiting for that. but they have been preparing for that for the longest time. But as I mentioned earlier, His Holiness right now is completely strong in spirit and healthy when it comes to his body. And we know that China will have to wait for a long time before they even come up with any sort of plan. But all we know is His Holiness has been preparing the Tibetan community by reminding that work as if I'm not there. So this has been a preparation and a grooming moment of His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama to make sure the Tibetan freedom movement, in terms of challenging the authoritative Chinese Communist Party, will be done by the Tibetan people inside and outside Tibet. So ready or not, China is the one who should be counting on the ticking clock, not us.
All right. Tibetan MP and political activist in Tibet, thank you very much for joining us. Ms. Dolkar, appreciate you joining me live at this point of time on the bulletin, and thank you very much for speaking to us.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.